How long's it going to take to fix me properly? A month? A year?
You have the right to disapprove of our methods, and you will kindly apologize when you're feeling better.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reid. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reid.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reid? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Interesting.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Dang.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick, unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Dang.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Man, probably no suffering from that. Oh, he could be took out.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Alright, there's one more hint for him.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Alright, yeah, we really need to talk to Dr. Ackroyd. We have to figure out who that is. Blood Temptation. Remember, Citizen's Blood will provide you a massive XP boost. Look for citizens of your mesmerized level or below, and choose wisely. Man, it's like they want you to do it.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
It looks like he has something else in mind to investigate. We'll get to it. Is this locked?
You have all seen things that no one...
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reid.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Alright, so it looks like he can trade goods as well, but let's go ahead and talk to him first.
Do you need medical attention?
I'm feeling all right, doctor. But perhaps it is because I, too, am used to the smell of the dead.
Oh, that's lovely.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof! No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
A funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Womp womp. Funny story. She did.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No, I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me, I love life and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I'm not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reid, I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Very perspective.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
I'm glad he asked that instead of telling him to show me your goods. Oh, is this Dr. Ackroyd? I think so.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reid. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reid, yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Well, listen here, Waverly. Dang. Whole lot of sass. At the same time, your name is Waverly, so I guess I kind of get it.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reid. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Dang, this guy is really going for it. Do we want to be neutral? Jealousy will not do you any good? You better change your tone. Oh man, how do we want to play this? Alright, you know what? We'll be neutral. It's gonna be a while before we can even do anything to Dr. Ackroyd if we wanted to. We'll be neutral, though.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Yep, so he's already talking about Strickland. Yep, that already just unlocked for us. We'll get right to it.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
Interesting.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Really? You seem like a little bit of an asshole to me for no reason. Don't even know me.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reid, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Knowledge is our main weapon. I like that answer.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative, it is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reid.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Dr. Ackroyd may have good intentions, but he may get killed. We'll see. And poor patient was over here tossing and turning. He's like, can y'all walk somewhere else and talk? I'm halfway dead over here. Y'all just carrying on a conversation like nothing's wrong. That's funny. We gotta go talk to Nurse Brannigan. Kind of surprised we hadn't talked to her already.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Oh damn, Nurse Brannigan, is she trying to give him some rest? That's funny. She cares about it. Oh, she's level 5, dang.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No, I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Okay, I definitely read that subtitle and she said his best, and then she said their best. That's funny.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
I think she wants Dr. Tippett's next to her.
Why does Dr. Tippett's claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett's does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett's did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett's would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reid. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett's in our situation?
Perhaps you did it with the best intentions, Nurse Brannigan, but you took a great risk. Must I remind you that a man died?
You mean you've never made a mistake? Never covered your tracks? Come on, Doctor. I wasn't born yesterday.
Oh yeah, we did kill all those scows. Sure did. I'm sure she's talking about other stuff.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Alright, we gotta find Dr. Tippett's. Let's talk to him about all this. Alright, let's see if we can cure Clay Cox. We're still trying to find Dr. Tippett's, but let's talk to him again.
Hey, Doc.
Alright, yeah, diseases. Press R1 to check the medical status of a citizen.
You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox. I hope you're starting to take better care of yourself.
This place is full of sickness and decay. How could I get better in such a dump?
He's got a point. We'll go and give him the medicine.
Consider yourself lucky that I'm treating all of my patients equally. But don't push your luck.
Don't play the innocent with me. I'm sure you have good reasons to act this way. And also weaknesses that can be exploited.
Yep, he's got a point. Alright, so now let's check his health. Recovering. Alright, his blood quality bumped up. So remember, he was around, what, 500 something? That's up to 700. We still have a couple more hints that we need to give for him.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
Yeah, I think Clay Cox is somebody that's going to get killed on here. He's a gang leader. There's really no reason to keep him around. Oh, Dr. Tippett, just who I wanted to see.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reid, any good news to share?
I found the dead body you left in the morgue.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
I don't know, that body looked kind of fresh in there. He's only level 2, so we could take him out fairly early if we wanted to. We do have a couple more hints to get for him. I'll cover for you. Ooh.
I will cover for you, Dr. Tippett, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually. I can't exactly force you to become my accomplice.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon as the epidemic is eradicated, I will resign.
Oh, and we got some shillings for that. Wow.
What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus. Such a beautiful island. I could buy a house there by the sea, read poetry, and wait for death.
Oh, he could wait for death out there, or we could bring it to him early. Dang. Oh, there's so many choices on this game, and we have one more hint. Anything else back on here?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Man, that's crazy. This hospital, there's so many people here. Alright, you know what? So I know we still need to talk to Dr. Swansea. I figured let's just go ahead and finish talking to everybody here. Let's get all these storylines brought out.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reid. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Dang. Oh, he could be took out. We're at the same level. We do want to build up the XP if we were to do that. He's in a lot of pain.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
I mean, this could feel like a mercy killing if we were to move forward with that. I do see this one here, but let me check if there's any personal questions first.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Dang.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here and just be forgotten.
Hint failed? No, it says we failed it. Wow. Oh, okay, wow.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Reconstructive surgery has been...
I don't want to wait.
Okay, so it doesn't let you bring up another topic, so yeah, that hint's just gone. Alright, let's see if we can get this other hint.
How close are you to Miss Hallcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Wow.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Dang, you know what? This person here... I hate that we missed out on this hint, so we're not going to know... I don't know. I don't know what else we were supposed to say. I mean, I offered up surgery, and then the other thing was saying you can't hide forever. So I'm like, I don't know how that was going to work out as a positive thing. And then his social circle is just pretty much her. I'll hold off. I'm not going to take him out just yet, but right now this is a potential person that we will get some XP from.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Time has lost its effect on me. The pain. But the suffering continues.
Oh, here her crazy ass is sitting right here.
Good evening, Miss Hallcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Did she have anything new?
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
I mean, it seems like it would be okay to take out Thomas Elwood then, if you don't care.
I'll leave you, Miss...
I wish I could be sick.
Okay. We're gonna keep him in mind. He could potentially be a victim.
It's here again.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reid, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reid. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Interesting.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Oh, that would make sense.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers' trade union. The wet boot boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
And he's just sitting right outside the hospital. That's crazy.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
That's respect.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognise Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks, and I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Now, I'm surprised that that cross is not burning Dr. Reid like Dr. Swansea was able to do. But of course, that cross was much larger, so I'm not sure if it's a size thing.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Okay, that's all I was wondering.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest, and then I can go back to the people who need me.
Interesting. 3,000. Wow. He's got a couple hints. Level 6.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Very interesting.
I cannot enter.
Alright, so I think we've pretty much talked to everybody, all the patients. I mean, if we come across someone new, we'll catch them next time. Can we go upstairs real quick? I cannot enter. The doors ain't... You can't even hit the prompter to get him to say that. Alright, let's go talk to Dr. Swansea. It was the next main mission.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
It may seem strange, but your words have brought me some comfort here.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Let's see if we can talk to Edgar a little bit more.
Do you need something, Jonathan?
Yeah, I have questions.
I have just a few questions.
Then ask away. I'm at your service, Doctor.
Dr. Tippett's killed somebody. Oh. All right, let's talk about this brotherhood first.
You mentioned something about a secret society. A brotherhood, if I recall. Could you elaborate?
Certainly. I've been a member of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole for several years. We are pledged to monitor and report vampire activity in England as impartial scientific observers.
That explains your nightly wanderings about the docks and the questions you ask.
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that part of town. There was something as yet unseen that set those chain of events in motion.
Yet you don't fear me. And still, you know the monster that lurks beneath the civilized surface.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to a gazelle.
That's a very interesting way of putting that. Dang. Very interesting.
Since you seem quite the expert on vampires, what could you tell me about my condition and how it came about?
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know. Forget the myths, the hackneyed scrawlings, and the penny dreadfuls. They do not scratch the surface of the truth you now find yourself in.
The sun. The morning following my transformation. Its rays burned me. There was pain, smoke, and my skin blackened.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have been offered relative immortality. The sun will most certainly hurt you, leaving you weakened and damaged, but it will not destroy you.
That's crazy. I'm sure there's probably other shows or movies that have followed that concept, but most of the time when the sun hits a vampire, it kills them. So it's interesting that you can get incredibly damaged, but it still won't kill you.
Must I take a life to live?
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can sustain your immortal frame. And only a living creature contains the nourishment you require.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to kill, but definitely gotta feed.
Since I'm the one working for you, what should I know about Pembroke Hospital?
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility in this part of town that people can rely on. We support the community here, as well as provide health care.
Where do we stand today?
Oh, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
What do you expect of me?
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform. We fight to help the poor, the sick of the East End, the forgotten.
We can do it.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory, William Bishop, I believe, was he a vampire?
He was a Skald, technically speaking. The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
How do Skalds come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
Well, I did instinctively kill quite a few of them already, from the morgue.
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a Skald?
A Skald is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
That is a considerable difference.
We'll see each other again soon, Edgar.
Very interesting. We have a lot of points. Alright, so now it wants us to talk to the hospital benefactor, which is going to be Lady Ashbury out by the parking lot. Yeah, in this game, a parking lot. Outside by the tents. So we're going to go ahead and rest up first. We finally finished talking to everybody in the Pembroke. That's right, we can't get to it from out here. That's convenient. Alright, yep, we'll go ahead and save and let me see what we can level up on. Yeah, we have a lot of capabilities here. We have tactical stuff now. You can perform a supernatural move to your target and cause damage upon landing. That sounds incredible. We have a shadow veil. So toggle, drain your stamina to fade into the shadows and become invisible to most enemies. Moving in this state will drain more stamina. You will exit the shadows if you attack or dodge, or when your stamina is empty. So that's a good way to sneak up on somebody. There are so many things you can do, man. Alright, let me figure this out. Alright, so let's go ahead and unlock this spring ability. Alright, so it says for spraying, the common belief that vampires can disappear into thin air is misleading. Rather, they can greatly increase their speed with blood, moving so fast that to human eyes, it appears as if they appear and reappear at will. Correctly used, this ability can be offensive or defensive, depending on the vampire's state of mind. It's too easy to catch up to your prey with spraying. It's almost boring when they start running. That's cool. Alright, so we have that ability unlocked. 1430 points left. For right now, I think I'm going to do something defensive. I was checking out the blood barrier. So you create an invisible barrier, absorbing direct damage until it fades or is destroyed. Let's go ahead and unlock this and get ourselves some more defensive capability. So we'll see how that gets applied. It says here, vampires afraid of suffering damage are familiar with the hardiness ability. This blood ability will protect the vampire from direct damage. Unfortunately, it does not stop them from being grabbed by enemies. You can hurt my body, but only if you can catch me. Interesting. Alright, we're going to increase our regeneration when we use bite in combat. And we will increase our health again. Alright, major district events. Every night, the consequences of your actions may improve or degrade the district health status. It can also be degraded due to diseases spreading among citizens, which of course we can cure if we have enough ingredients. Alright, the more lives you take, the unhealthier a district becomes. If a district's health status drops below the critical threshold, it will plunge into chaos. It's for you to decide a district's fate. Alright, so because I healed Clay Cox, actually looks like it went down a little bit, didn't it? I healed him and it actually went down a little bit from what I saw. But we see this is still in pretty good health. We still have 4 people. These are 2 people in the hospital we hadn't talked to yet. And I still need to figure out who these 2 people are. But everybody else we already have met. We have some other areas that are updating. Alright, so we know Dyson Delaney from the pub. Or the tavern. So we could treat them if we have enough. A lot of people in that area to meet. So we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode here. And when we come back, we'll talk to Lady Ashbury, see where the story takes us from here. So, appreciate all the support. Hit that like button and subscribe. Also, click into the join button. Take a look at some of the membership benefits for the channel. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode.